The Prodigal Son Bible Story for Children. Introduction. The prodigal son is one of the most famous and beloved parables in the Bible. It tells the story of a young man who demands his inheritance from his father and squanders it all on a life of riotous living. When he hits rock bottom, he comes to his senses and returns home to his father, who welcomes him back with open arms. This story is a powerful reminder of God's love and forgiveness. It teaches us that no matter how far we have strayed from Him, He is always waiting for us to come back. The story. Once upon a time, there was a man who had 2 sons. The younger son was restless and rebellious. He wanted to see the world and experience all that it had to offer. He begged his father for his inheritance so that he could leave home and start a new life. His father, though saddened by his son's request, knew that he could not deny him. He gave him his inheritance and watched as he rode away, never knowing if he would see him again. The younger son traveled far and wide, spending his money on lavish parties and expensive clothes. He quickly squandered his inheritance and was soon left penniless and alone. He found himself working as a pig feeder for a man who lived in a foreign land. The work was hard and demeaning. He was often hungry and cold. He longed for the comforts of home and the love of his father. One day, the younger son came to his senses. He realized that he had been foolish and wasteful. He had taken his father's love for granted and had thrown it away. He decided to return home and beg for his father's forgiveness. He knew that he didn't deserve it, but he hoped that his father would take pity on him. The journey home was long and arduous. The younger son had to walk the entire way, and he often despaired of ever reaching his destination. But he persevered, and finally, he arrived home. He saw his father in the distance and ran towards him. His father saw him coming and ran to meet him. He embraced his son and kissed him, overjoyed to see him again. The younger son confessed his sins to his father and asked for his forgiveness. His father was so happy to have his son back that he forgave him immediately. He threw a great feast in his son's honor and invited all of his friends and neighbors to celebrate. The older son was jealous of his brother's homecoming. He couldn't understand why his father would forgive him after all that he had done. His father explained that his younger son had been lost and was now found. He said that it was only right to celebrate his return. The older son was still angry, but he eventually came to accept his father's decision. Conclusion. The story of the prodigal son is a story of hope and forgiveness. It teaches us that no matter how far we have strayed from God, He is always waiting for us to come back. We are all like the prodigal son. We have all sinned and fallen short of God's glory. But God is merciful and loving. He will forgive us if we confess our sins and ask for His forgiveness. If you are feeling lost or alone, remember that God is always with you. He loves you and wants you to come back to Him.